Hi, this is Hank of Space Heater Studios in Houston, Texas, and today we're going to take a look at setting up a Feedburner account, which actually you may already have because a while back Feedburner was bought by Google, and so now it's part of Google. So if you have a Google account, then you already have the information you need just to sign in to Feedburner. Now, in my case, I do have a Google account. The information is already filled in and ready to sign in. If I needed to, I could create an account by clicking on this big blue button here, and we'll take a quick look at that. And there it asks for your standard kind of stuff: email address, choosing a password, re-entering the password, humanity test, and moving on down, you would finally click I accept and create your account. Now in this case we already have that, so we're going to back up a little bit. And by the way, in order to get to this page, what I actually entered was feedburner.google.com. You enter that, and then it sort of fills in more in the URL up here, but it takes you on to its sign in or create an account page. One other thing I want to point out while we're here is that this page does give you a little bit of information to help you understand better what Feedburner is about, but in particular this Learn More link here will take you to this page, and this has a lot of great information to let you understand a little bit better about what feeds are and how they'll serve you, and in particular what Feedburner as a Google service can add to that. It gives you a lot of information about your feeds and how they're being used, etc. So that's something to certainly explore down there, okay? Now, let's go ahead and sign in to Feedburner. And my one password is asking if I want to store, and we're not going to bother with that right now. Now, at this point, it's wondering if I already had feeds. That is, I might have had feeds with Feedburner before it was bought by Google, and so it's wondering if I have some of those and I want to transfer those over. In this case, I did not. I have a blog that I would like to create as a new feed. So right here we have burn a feed right this instant. Very emphatic about that. And so it wants a URL in here of the blog or whatever it is that we want to make into a feed. There's a little bit more information there, but basically I'm going to go to our Space Heater Studios account. Here we've got a really nice blog with that Haley writes and has some great information, and I'm going to copy the URL for that blog, go back to that page, and I'm going to enter that URL in here, and then I'm going to click Next. Welcome, let us burn a feed for you. Sounds good. It's going to tells you about how it's going to apply some service, etc. But right down here, you want to check and make sure that the title that it's come up with is the title that you want. In this case, it was easy for it to figure out the kind of title we wanted. And as a matter of fact, I think I'll add on here blog along with Space Heater Studios. It has an address for the feed that actually I want to copy just so I have access to it later in case I don't see it again, is where people will find the new feed. We're going to be using that. You have the option to cancel at this point, but that's not what we want to do. We want to go on to Next. Congrats, the Feedburner feed is now live. Want to dress it up a little bit. And here you have some other options, especially if you go on into here, that you might want to explore some. As a matter of fact, we're going to explore those some later on in another screencast. But for now, we're glad to have the feed. We're going to actually, I want to take a quick little look here. And it can kind of show me what the feed contents look like when it's in a feed environment here. And there are so many ways to access these feeds, dedicated programs and through some web browsers and one way or another. So it's not always going to look like this. The individual portal or program that you use may give it a little different appearance and such, but this is great, and I just wanted to make sure it's there with the content that I expected to have. With that, I'm going to click Next, go to Skip Directly Feed Management. Gives me a little more information about the stats that it automatically tracks, and I'm fairly happy with the settings as they are. But I am very likely going to be coming back here and exploring these a little bit more. And as my content increases and my needs increases, I'm going to be using some of these other services. I'm just glad that they're there at this point. We can also at this point integrate it, and so therefore we may have things like Blogger and WordPress, etc., that we want to take the blog and the contents in this particular feed that I did on this site and have it automatically put into other situations. So that's great. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with programs like Postgres, where you can take information and put it in one place and then have it distributed out to various sites. This does a very similar sort of thing. And we got some information, a lot of ways to educate ourselves further here, etc. But with that, we've created our feed. We're in good shape, and so we're pretty happy with what's happened at this point. We now have a feed going through Feedburner. So with that, we're going to be doing some screencasts soon to explore further how to leverage your content by making it more accessible to your customers. Hope this helps, and we look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, please visit us at spaceheaterstudios.com.